All right. YouTubers, welcome back. This is part 2. I was gonna tell something, but the other video was already too long, so I'm figuring just continue it. Podcasters, love y'all. I'm continuing this long one onto the other long one, but y'all can always pause and do all that other beautiful stuff. So, anyways, so Delano, right? Delano was about a year and a half old, just beginning to do the whole walking thing. He was a little, past, he was almost a year, beginning to do the walking thing. And he had these Jordans that were given to me. Delano has fat feet. So the Jordans were the ones that have the elastic lace and not the shoelaces. So on this particular day, we had put the Jordans on him. We ran around, did a whole bunch of errands, taking his dad to go get a physical done. Went to the store, and then at the same time, for some particular reason, I was looking for my donor. And we were riding around Bridgeport looking for where I thought my donor lived. And it was raining. Like, this was an all-day process. We didn't make it back to the house till late that night. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I go to take Delano's shoes off, and Delano has these blisters under all 5 of his toes. The big toe was the one that actually looked a little more. Can you stop? You just went to the damn bathroom. You're not going nowhere. We don't move like your time. Thank you. Sorry, you guys, but she's very demanding and she'll keep. And then one of the kids will bust their ass to go take her, and she won't even use the bathroom at all. Then you bring her right back in, and as soon as she comes back in and waits till you settle down, she wants to do what she's just doing now again. Like, no, you're not the owner, and we're not the pets. You're the pet, and we're the owners. Disrespectful dog. I don't care if you're a dog, a four-legged animal, or a person. I want my respect like I give it to you. That's why I talk to her the way that I talk to her. She don't give me no respect. I still love her though. That's my baby. Don't get me wrong. But she makes me have to be aggressive in order for her to understand how serious I am, because I'm trying to change my ways and I don't talk the way I used to before. But she got used to just me snapping at her, and I gotta get used to her being nice. But anyways, so the 5 toes, right, had the blisters on it, right? And the big toe was the one with the worst blister on it. So the next day, I asked, his dad, like, how are his toes doing? Because I was at work. I was the breadwinner in the whole house. Because all my mother was collecting was SSI, and he didn't work. So, oh, well, it looks the same. It actually looks a little bit worse. So I got home, and I'm like, I don't like the way it looks, like, honestly. And I just don't want him to catch an infection. These are his toes. Like, the last thing I want is for him to catch some type of infection, and then my baby's got to lose his foot or something like that. I know, my mind used to always go to, like, the worst place in the world. So I took him to the tele center, right? Shut up. So I took him to the tele center, which is like an immediate care center back home. And I explained to the doctor, what happened and what's going on with his toes. This man told me we couldn't go nowhere because he was calling DCF. Because we had to burn them 4 toes in scorching hot water. Now, mind you, even though them 5 toes, even though the other 4 little toes had it, they were so small and so minor, you really couldn't see it. It was the big one that really looked it bad. So I had to wait for the cops to come. I had to go get the other shoes. I had to take Delano. Me and Delano had to ride in a police car. Okay, I had to hold Delano in the back seat, ride with Delano in the police car, all the way to Stanford Hospital. No, all the way to Stanford Hospital, right?
Then go see him in the room.
Just for a doctor to sit there and say to the police officers, who was the idiot that said that she burned his... And then it had to be me. They said it was me. It couldn't even be his dad. Like, again, I got accused. Not even his donor. His donor was with me that day. It was both of us there. But no, I got accused. Like, bro, why does the mom... Like, was it because of my mental health? Am I being targeted because I have shit going on? That doesn't make me a neglectful person at all. Not everybody that has trauma becomes traumatic. Not everybody that has trauma traumatizes other people. Some of us actually learn from the trauma we went through and try to do the opposite of it. And I'm so tired of that stigma. But anyway, sorry, I just had to let that out. Because just what I went through recently, I feel like it's the same stigma too. But anyways, so the officers was like, so what are you saying, to the doctor? Well, basically, There's no way possible. She would have to have broken his whole foot just to get his big toe alone in the hot water for it to be the way that it is. He was like, this person at the Telly Center must have had no kids. Because when I explained what happened, I even showed him the Jordans. He was like, it's happened to my kids before, my nieces and my nephew. Because again, you don't realize that the friction can cause that problem. And then he was like, she did not do this. But because DCF was already called from the Telly Center, once they're called, you have to go through the 45 days of investigation. There is no like taking it back. There's no erasing. There's no deleting it. There's no acting like it never happened. So the police officer was like, well, that's our job here. We're done. You're just stuck here, ma'am, until DCF arrives. Have a nice day. I was like, well, thanks a lot, motherfuckers. I was like, I appreciate y'all gonna leave me with 45 days of fucking madness, and it's fucked up that even though you're hearing from a doctor himself say that there's no possible, and that the doctor that accused me of that should actually either go back to school or have his own damn kids so he can know what the fuck he's talking about before he goes accusing people, because there's just no way physically possible for me to have done that. How are you a doctor and you accuse me of doing this? Okay? Like, there's no way. I would have had to broken his foot, like he said, just to get that one big toe to dip in the water to do that. Like the doctor claimed that I did. Doctor claimed that I put my son's big toe in boiling hot water. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have sued him for defamation of character. I really would have. Because that brought so much pressure for me and so much stress. And my kids went through so much shit because of it. It was ridiculous. But during that case, we saw the lady at the hospital, and it turned out to be the same lady. Somehow she just managed to get the same fucking family again. But anyways, she shows up at the hospital. The doctor gives all his findings or whatever and tells her exactly the same shit he told the police. And she was like, well, I still have to do the investigation for the 45 days, so I'll be stopping by the home and checking in. Saw that lady one time come to the house. Waited to hear from her for the next 45 days, but that whole entire time, you know what she was doing? Going to her school. Going to her school to go talk to her. Going to her school to go trigger her. Even though I had already sat down with her and explained to her, I know DCF cannot tell me when they're going to go see my child at school. But because she's a mental health child who is dealing with PTSD and trauma, I have to make sure that as her mom, I'm protecting and taking care of her. So all that I ask and I request is that after you see her, after you go do your visits or whatever, just give me a heads up so then I can call her therapist and make sure that she's handling that situation. She never did that. She hid behind the whole 45-day case on her, even though the case was on him, on Delano. And like I said to them supervisors when I had that meeting, I let it all play out. She came the last day. And or was it the other way around? Did Delano happen first and then you happen second? Because now my memory is beginning to think.
I think Delano happened first and I happened second because Delano was already walking around when that happened. Because I know he was already in preschool.
No, he wasn't. No, he was not. No, he was not.
No, I just know he wasn't there. That's the part that I can't remember.
He wasn't where?
He wasn't where we were.
Yes, he was.
I just don't remember where he was. It's the problem. I do remember the whole thing because I was triggered, but I don't remember. Like,
no, Beba, you're talking. I'm not talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember if it was, because if I remember his size, I'll remember his age.
He was 1 to 1.5 years old.
I know, but I can't remember if when I.
He was nowhere in preschool. Delano didn't have preschool till he was 3.
Okay. So I'm wrong about that. But I'm trying to remember because I'm trying
to remember. Delano had to have been
there
there with you guys because I was at work. Because remember when DCF came that night to the house, Sanjay had to leave. They removed Sanjay out of the house until
I do remember. It was I think Delano was first, and then me second. The only reason why I think that was because I
think you're right. I'm gonna tell you,
race car bed.
Correct. I think you're right because I believe Delano's case happened first. I didn't like the way she handled it because she never came to check on Delano. She never did anything. Like I said, I could have killed Delano if I really was abusing him in those 45 days. And they wouldn't have known until the end when they came to the house to say the case was closed because they never checked on him because they was too busy taunting and stressing her out. And then when her case happened, that's when enough was enough, because it was the same fucking lady, and I felt like she was deliberately triggering her and pushing her because she didn't respect anything that I said even from the last time, and Beba wasn't getting no help during the process, and we were dealing with a lot of behavior and anger issues with her. She was shutting down classrooms and shit, and it was just making it worse.
Wait. That time you said about the gym, was that the time I threatened to jump off the top of the staircase? Because if so, I think I do remember what you're talking about. And if so, I think I remember why I said I liked her towards the end, because I don't think she believed I actually had mental stuff going on. She just thought I was not a bad kid, but if mom ain't around watching me, I'm gonna act like a perfect angel. If mom's not there, I'm gonna be a devil, sort of deal. But then I think after the whole me threatening to jump off the staircase,